Hi, everybody. Welcome to the summit. So glad to have you all here. I'm Jocelyn Mercado. I am the founder of Sacred Planet, and I'm also the organizer and producer of the summit. So I want to welcome you all here. This is the first of 24 interviews that you will hear about the interplay of ancient wisdom and modern science, illuminating a new path for our future. This summit has been designed to change the world by sharing ways that we can weave together ancient and indigenous wisdom with modern science and technology to co-create a brighter future for ourselves and our planet. So today I have my friend and mentor here, Lorna Lee, to facilitate a conversation about global consciousness redesign. Thank you so much, Lorna. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Hi there, Jocelyn. I'm so excited that you are hosting the summit, and I'm really excited to hear about the experts that you have on this during this event. So I would love to talk to you more about some of the root motivations for why you have created this event. And so you had mentioned, you talked about global consciousness redesign. So I'd love to understand more of what that is so that our audience can understand how to get the most out of this particular online event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. And let me introduce you real quickly, Lorna, so that everybody knows who you are. Lorna Lee is a digital nomad, internet marketing consultant, and visionary business coach to transformational entrepreneurs. And her career got started deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest while working with indigenous shamans. She is the host of the Entheo Nation podcast, which covers psychedelic science, modern shamanism, and visionary culture. So again, welcome, Lorna, and thank you so much for asking that question. So I want to say, first of all, that creating this summit has been such a fun adventure, and it has truly become something so much bigger than what I even planned. It's been a really amazing and humbling experience to watch it all come together and to work with all of these experts. I originally created the summit because I see this great hunger in the world for the kind of knowledge that we're sharing here. And the idea that there's so much more to life than what we can experience using just our five senses, our normal five senses, and today's scientific instruments. Everybody, I'm sure, is aware in the global media, everywhere around you, there's been an explosion in holistic health and wellness. And this is largely because the scientific community is now starting to agree that practices like meditation and acupuncture and yoga have absolutely incredible positive impacts to our health. And these impacts go beyond even what science can fully explain. So people everywhere are really opening up to the possibility that we are more than just a body and a mind. So you'll hear some of our speakers talk about things like the energetic field of the heart. That's what Melissa Joy Johnson will be speaking about. Simone Wright will talk about our intuition and how to use it to drive spiritual alchemy. Claire Dakin, Tanishka, Normandy Ellis, Judith Shaw will all be speaking about opening of the power of the sacred feminine on the planet. And they all have such unique and different takes on it. It's truly beautiful. So be sure to tune in for all of those. But I really feel that all of these are topics that people are so hungry for right now and that the world really, really needs. Because we can feel the truth behind these principles. We can see, we can't see them working, you know, so like a surgeon can't take us apart and say, oh, okay, here's the energy field of the heart. You can't zoom in on these things with a microscope, but we know it's a deep truth in our own heart and soul that these things are real and that we can access them. So that's what this summit is all about, sharing this deep wisdom with as many people as possible. And so that we can all learn from the amazing speakers on the summit, and then we can go out and use this knowledge to change ourselves, and most importantly, go out and change the world. So that's what global consciousness redesign is all about. It's this amazing opportunity that we have right now to join together as a global community and really inspire one another to open up to a more vast and all-encompassing awareness of what we are each truly capable of. We all have access to this amazing inner brilliance inside of us. And it comes from the ancient wisdom from generation upon generation of ancestors who lived and breathed and loved on the earth before us. It also comes from the cellular and biological knowledge that is our birthright. So we all, every single one of us, have this inside. We just have to open up to it. And the speakers on the summit have so many different ways that they will share with you to help you do that. So the point is that every one of these experts are very clear that the message that they're sharing with you on the summit is meant to change the world. It's really interesting because they all come from different backgrounds. They all speak about very diverse and different topics, but each of them has told me that they feel it's so important to get their particular message out to the world because each of their messages holds a special key to accelerating the global shift in human consciousness. So that's what global consciousness redesign is all about, is just recognizing this inner brilliance inside of us, doing the inner work to access it. And this summit is the beginning of that, I hope, for many, many people. So,
Wow, I'm so looking forward to hearing this, participating in these amazing sessions. It sounds very empowering and inspiring. And so I would love to hear more about who you are. And in sharing with us who you are, I'd love for the audience to also get a sense of what led you to this point now. What was the journey that brought you to creating Sacred Planet and to doing this work? Because it is a tremendous undertaking and it requires a lot of commitment and vision. So please share with us how you all got started.
absolutely. Just a little bit about myself first. I am a writer, a life coach, and an environmentalist. I have a bachelor's degree in Spanish language and literature, and I have an MBA. I love magical realism, and I bring that into my writing a lot, and I got all of that from the Spanish language and literature. I've been studying Indigenous wisdom, shamanic practices, and earth-based healing methods for years, and I've experienced really major shifts in my life, which I'll tell you about in just a moment, which have led me to develop a unique life coaching method based on the idea that we need to heal ourselves first and primarily, then that will enable us to go out and heal others, and ultimately to heal the world and to change the world. And so that vision has been the foundation of Sacred Planet. Sacred Planet is an online community which I founded to connect a global audience of people who are no longer satisfied with the status quo and no longer satisfied with the economic and political systems that we're kind of trapped in right now, and people who feel called to create profound change in the world. So we are seeking a collective power inherent in heart-based community so we can dynamically co-create a brighter tomorrow. So that's what Sacred Planet itself is all about. As for me, I have been on quite a journey. As a kid, I guess what ultimately, what originally kicked this all off was as a kid, I was suffered from anxiety and depression. And so from the age of 16 on, I was frequently on, Prozac or some type of meds to help me deal with that. And so I was completely disconnected from my intuition because I really, really, my intuition only ever seemed to tell me that like things are bad, things are going to get worse, And so I just cut it off completely and had no connection with it. And so as I went on throughout adult life, I got to a point where I couldn't live like that anymore. And the turning point was really when we were trying to get pregnant with my first daughter. And I couldn't stay on the meds, for medical reasons for my baby. I couldn't stay on the meds, but I went into a really, really dark period of time then. It was okay while I was pregnant. I guess the hormones and the oxytocin were helping out during that time and kind of lifted me up a little bit. But once I had my daughter, I just sank into a deep, deep, deep depression. And all I knew was that I couldn't go back on the meds, and I had to find a way to be okay because I had to be there for my baby. I had to be okay. So I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to do that. And it was really, really a tough time. So I just started reading, and I read everything I could get my hands on, from Eckhart Tolle to Deepak Chopra to David Suzuki, like just everything I could get my hands on that I felt drawn to. And somehow from that, I really made a commitment to myself that I was going to find a way to be okay, and that I was going to open up to any possibility to let that happen. And things just really started changing. I got this inspiration to write a book, which is the novel that I have recently completed, that's called The Worlds We Lost While Dreaming. And that book quickly is, about the Wairani people of the Amazon rainforest and their struggle to protect their land from oil drilling and oil companies. So it's really a vast hero's journey. It's much bigger than just that. But so this research for this book kind of led me to the Pachamama Alliance, which I discovered right around the end of my time working on the book. And so I was just amazed to find this organization that was so closely aligned with all the topics that I had been writing about in my book. And so I applied to be a blogger for them, and they accepted me. And so this was the beginning of a bunch of really, really synchronistic events that happened in my life where I just know, like, I've been on this path. And so my first blog post that I wrote for them went viral. And so it was awesome because it was the first blog post I'd ever written for an organization. And it reached something like 485,000 people, and it got 70,000 shares on Facebook. It was just this really amazing moment. And it was kind of like, okay, I know I've found something here. I know I'm going to be okay now. So where do I go from here? And that's when I got the idea for Sacred Planet, because everything I had been reading, everything I'd been researching led me to know that people want change. You know, people want to know that there's more to life than just going to work and buying stuff. And, you know, the ruts that we kind of get stuck in, and there truly is. And when you open to it, you know, Simone Wright will talk about this, like, we need to follow our intuition and we need to set goals. So when I set that goal, I'm going to find a way to be okay. You may not have any idea how you're going to get there, but the universe will conspire to help you reach that. So that's really a big part of what Sacred Planet and the Summit are all about, is changing ourselves and then going out and changing the world.
So I'm curious about this focus on Indigenous culture and Indigenous wisdom. So it's interesting, you know, you touched upon this current or trend where it seems like people are really hungry for this knowledge, and this knowledge has been with us for a long time. It's just, you know, a lot of it has been eradicated or suppressed because of the dominant paradigms, capitalism, imperialism, colonialism. And so it seems like now it's almost like there's a resurgence happening. What I can say is, what I've observed in the Brazilian Amazon is that there is a cultural renaissance that's happening, because more and more people in the West are interested in Amazonian culture, Amazonian medicines. There are people going down to the Amazon, to Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Bolivia, Brazil, to spend time with the tribes. And so I'd love to know what your take is on why Indigenous wisdom now?
Yes, such an important question. So in summary, and then I'll go into a little more detail, but I think Indigenous wisdom is experiencing such a resurgence right now because it connects us with the ancient truths at the very core of our being. I know I have found in my own life that through connecting with Indigenous wisdom and just ancient wisdom that that has been with us for millennia, but as you said, has been often forgotten or, you know, taken apart or suppressed. Reconnecting with this is the truest way to discover what your heart and soul really desires. And so I think there are three key reasons for this. One is that we were all indigenous once. If you go far back enough in anyone's lineage, you will find ancestors who were deeply connected to the land, the water, the rocks, the mountains, who based their spirituality on what they observed in the natural world. And so the principles and beliefs of Indigenous wisdom speak to ancient knowings that are deep, deep parts of our souls from our collective ancestral human memory. We all know deep down that we are part of the earth. We came from the earth. So modern society tends to forget this and tends to, you know, want to say that, no, you're safe in your house. You don't have to go outside. You don't have to be part of the natural world. But it's a basic and undeniable fact that we evolved as creatures of the earth. So I think that there is a call going out now, and, you know, whether it's coming from the universe or from Mother Earth, I think so many of us are feeling it right now, and it comes from deep inside, and it's saying that we need to open up, we need to look and experience, get back to our roots, and respond to this, and it's telling us that we are needed and that we can change the world. I think the earth wants our participation in this great awakening of human consciousness, and it's calling many of us. The second reason that I see is a little more global, political, and economic, and that is that when it comes to the major issues that our society faces right now, such as stopping environmental destruction, dealing with social justice issues, war, political turmoil, economic problems, there are many keys to indigenous ways of life that hold the answers. Now, this is not to say, this is not to glorify indigenous people by any means. Everyone has their struggles, but the fact is that indigenous societies have existed for centuries, for millennia really, surviving in ways that in most cases don't harm the environment, and in many cases help to strengthen the ecosystem. The good of the community is placed above the good of the individual. The idea of community itself is expanded to include nature, plants and animals, and the earth. The land cannot be owned, it should be honored and respected and cared for. So these kind of principles are really truly what we need to get back to restore ourselves to a sustainable and a brighter future. Just as one example of this, there's the Iroquois seventh generation principle. I don't know if you've heard of that. It was included in the Iroquois Constitution, and it states that for any decision that is made, and this was for a governmental body that they had, for any decision that is made, the decision must take into account not just the current generation, not just the next generation after that, but the next 7 generations into the future. So can you imagine, what if we incorporated that principle into all of our global policy making today? You know, what a difference it would make.
Yes, there would be no Brexit.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of things would be so different. Could you imagine? I want to also share with you too, when I was in the Brazilian Amazon, I participated in a number of gatherings where before they had the political meeting, everyone gathered for a ceremony with sacred plant medicines the night before. So they got all their stuff out, you know, just purged and, you know, healed and sang songs and played guitar. And then once they were all clear and in a much higher vibration, then the next day they could come together and make some very important political decisions.
Right, right, exactly. It's that reconnecting to the source that, you know, we're missing in our global and political and economic arena. So, and then the third reason that, you know, for reconnecting to indigenous wisdom that I really want to point out is related to the science, and it goes back to the idea that reconnecting with nature has been proven in hundreds of recent scientific studies to help us to heal physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so, you know, there are studies that show that even for people who can't go outside, who are, you know, either trapped in a hospital or whatever the case is, if they have a view of a tree out their window, they're like a huge percent healthier than those who didn't have a view of the outdoor world. So imagine how much that benefit is multiplied for those of us who can get outside and spend time in nature. So, you know, this is a biological part of us, the earth is, and so we really need to reconnect with this type of wisdom.
So I'd love to hear more about how science is backing up these ancient and indigenous beliefs.
Absolutely, and that's just really, really core to the summit, really, really key. So what we're talking about on the summit, it's not just a return to the ancient practices. It's a melding and weaving together of science and new technology with the ancient wisdom. And so I believe that it's this combination that's going to drive us to really be able to create a new and sustainable future. So just a few examples of how the science is incorporated with the indigenous wisdom. As you will hear from Claude Poncelet, he is an amazing and incredible speaker, and he is a physicist, and he's also a shaman. He was first a physicist, and then he became a shaman. So Claude, of course, will explain this in much more detail, but studies that he has done and studies from many other scientists, many other physicists, and other fields of scientists have shown that there is no inconsistency between science and shamanism. And so that may seem like a pretty incredible statement, but the fact is that physics shows that everything is made of energy. And so, for example, my energy field overlaps with your energy field, Lorna, even though we're on separate continents right now. My energy field overlaps with that of trees, rocks, rivers, everything in the natural world. And so we are truly interconnected. And this is not just a feeling of interconnected because, oh, we're all in it together here. It's a feeling that we are made of the same atoms, the same molecules. We came from the same star explosions at the beginning of time. And we're all made of that. So we are truly all a part of each other scientifically. So it's pretty incredible to think about that. So you may hear many other fields of study providing scientific explanations for ancient truths. So for example, some of the work that you're doing, Lorna, on Thea Nation, accessing theta and delta brainwaves to connect with a higher intelligence when we're meditating or when we're dreaming or when we're in an altered state. As another example, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, the Institute of Heart Math, and other scientific organizations are seeking to explore the idea that reality is more complex, subtle, and mysterious than what conventional science leads us to believe. And that's actually a quote from the ION's website. They have found that intuition, extrasensory perception, the energy field of the heart, and these other phenomena are real. We all have these innate abilities built into us, and yet science is only beginning to understand them. So it kind of speaks to, you know, how much out there is there that science doesn't know yet, and that these ancient cultures really did know and still do. Another key principle of this is that there's an innate intelligence in all things. So this is a very core indigenous principle, that trees, rivers, the earth, lightning, insects, you name it, everything has a personality and it has its own energy that lends to the health and wholeness of the planet. So to correlate with that, you will hear Dr. John Ryan. He's a medical doctor on the summit, who has had incredible energy healing experiences. He will speak about the natural intelligence within healing, and within the life-giving power of our bodies. So how does a cut heal? How does a baby grow in its mother's womb? So we have these scientific and clinical explanations for these things, but really science cannot tell in full detail how these things really happen. Like there's this intelligence guiding all of it that is beyond what we can fully explain.
May I share with you a story from the Amazon that falls into what you just described?
Absolutely.
So a colleague and friend of mine who is a therapist from Chile brought her client to the Amazon to work with a maestro in Peru. And her client had a tumor on her pituitary gland. Mm-hmm. So her doctors did a number of tests, and they did x-rays before she left for the trip. So science documenting what was going on with her. She went and spent 30 days with this maestro. And the maestro, you know, I was surprised because I thought she was receiving herbal remedies and working with ayahuasca while she was down there. But actually, he served her what is called agua icarita, which is water that's blessed with the power of Icaros, which are the sacred songs of the plant medicines of the plants. And she was told to go and, you know, be in the river and be in nature. And so he guided her through this very spiritual process of healing. And then at a certain point in her experience there, she felt a deep shift. And then she went back. So another thing I should mention is that she got rid of everything like that was chemical. So she didn't do any chemical bug repellent. She didn't drink any sodas, no sugar. She followed a very traditional kind of like salt-free, sugar-free diet. So after her time with this maestro, it's about a month, she went back to Chile, went back to see her doctors. They did all the tests again. And the doctor was like, "What have you been taking this entire time? Your tumor is gone." Wow. And she was like, "Just water." And so this is really powerful because they have both, you know, the x-rays. So yes, indeed, there's a lot that science cannot explain.
Incredible, truly incredible.
So I want to ask you, Jocelyn, for the audience who are going to be participating in these sessions, what would you like to guide them through so that they can get the most out of your summit and that they can take away the wisdom that they are receiving from all these incredible speakers so that they can go out into their daily world and really make a difference?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's so important because the summit doesn't end when the summit's over. It goes then to the responsibility of everybody who's been listening. So my first advice is take lots and lots of notes. Anything that is meaningful to you, write it down, just get it on paper, and then certainly go back and reflect on it later. But I really think that in order to truly address the crises that are facing our planet today, we need radicals, we need change makers, we need people who are so clear on their mission in life that they don't care what others think or say, and they're going to go out and make a difference, make a positive impact in the world. The speakers on the summit are absolutely change makers. Lorna, you are a change maker and you are growing a tribe of change makers too in your business. So we desperately need people to shake things up, leave the status quo behind, and we need to break down the systems and structures that are holding us back and build new life-affirming systems, organizations, and communities that are going to bring us what we deeply know is most needed. So I want to read a quote from a book called The View of the Center of the Universe. And this is just so moving. I think it's really, really impactful and really, really relevant to the summit. This is written by Joel Primack and Nancy Abrams. And so they are presenting facts from fields like astronomy, cosmology, and physics to describe the role of humans in a whole new way. It's a really cool book, so you should definitely check it out. So they say the next decades, the active lifetimes of people reading this and their children will create the blueprint of the future Earth. We have a chance to be heroes if we have the courage to do what the scientific knowledge implies, or to be reviled as ignorant, selfish, and destructive if we do not. This is a once in all of lifetime opportunity, but we can only take advantage of it if we understand what a unique moment this is and how crucial it is to get things right and to do it now. For our entire species and for all species, today matters. Our society's current choices and interpretations might be the ones that reverberate for millennia out of all proportion to the thought that went into them. So the key message here is that this is our big chance right now. We really must take action. And so I encourage every single person listening to this summit over the next 2 weeks to choose at least 1 or 2 concrete ways that you learn from the summit speakers or that arises to you from inspiration while you're listening to them, that you can take action immediately. So it might be to start learning about shamanic journeying. It might be to read the book of one of our amazing speakers or more than one. It might be to take Tanishka's Red Tent course and start a women's circle, or if you're a man, start the equivalent, she offers an equivalent course for men. So whatever you choose, schedule it on your calendar, post it in really big letters on your fridge, whatever it takes so that you will remember, and keep on doing it until you accomplish it. And when you complete one, choose a new one, because this is how we're going to really make change. And you will find, I can guarantee you, you will find synchronicity. You will find the universe is going to step in and help you on this path when you participate in this way. And the universe is going to conspire with you and help you to accomplish your goals.
Wow, thank you so much for putting together this epic event. For members of the audience who feel like they want to get to know more about the work that you do and they feel connected with you, how can they discover more about the programs that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lorna. So I truly believe that some of the indigenous and shamanic teachings that we are just beginning to embrace today and that you'll learn about through the summit are actually light years ahead of modern science. Energy healing, connecting with spirit guides and helpers, praying to the spirits of the animals or the plants of the forest to heal and protect us will someday be recognized as more powerful medicine than what the greatest surgeons of our time can do, even with their precise and brilliant understanding of human anatomy. Because indigenous and ancient wisdom goes deeper than the physical body. And so based on these principles and a lot of, many, many other lines of research that I've done through Sacred Planet, I have designed life coaching packages that will awaken your intuition, heart, and soul, inspire you to achieve more than you ever believed possible in your life, and connect with your true life's path and life's purpose so that you can go out and change the world in the exact unique way that only you were meant to do. That's really what Sacred Planet is all about. And so I have the life coaching programs, I have online courses, and I would love for everyone on the summit to certainly go check them out, see if they resonate with you. If these things do resonate with you, I can tell you that you're being called. If it's meaningful to you, you are meant to do this work. And so I'd be honored if you choose to work with me. My website will certainly be posted on the summit website, Sacred Planet, so you can click through to it. And I want to offer 2 free gifts for all summit attendees so that you can get started and start to experience this without any costs upfront to you at all. So the first is module 1 of my exclusive online course. My course is called Discover Your Magic, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And this is a transformational step-by-step guide to finding your life's purpose and finding out how you are destined to change the world. So I want to offer that free to everybody. That will be available from the Summit website, easy to click to. The second is that you can register for a 30-minute personalized discovery session with me. And so this will be a phone call or a Skype call, and we'll talk a little bit about where you are in your life, where you want to go, the discoveries that you've made about yourself through the summit. And I will offer you a few customized recommendations about how you can fully open to your most brilliant and passionate existence in this lifetime. I can only offer a limited number of these, so everybody who's interested, please register soon. Be the first to get on my calendar. So yeah, I encourage everybody to go and check out my work. My website tells a lot more about kind of the basis and the philosophy behind what I'm working on here. So.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So, anything else you care to share about the summit, Jocelyn?
I just, as I had said at the beginning, I've just really been incredibly amazed and in connecting with these speakers and seeing how they're so unified on this idea of awakening the human consciousness. And so that's why I talk about global consciousness redesign, because I think that's what we're all doing here. I think that's people who are drawn to the summit. I think that's what we're doing. I think we are really, really ready and inspired to go out and change the world. And these speakers are willing to offer so many different ways that we can all make that happen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited to attend.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Lorna, for doing this. I truly appreciate it. And I believe you have a free gift as well. Would you want to tell a little bit about your website and your free gift that you're offering?
Absolutely. I would love to offer your audience my book, The Guide to Navigating Visionary States Through Sacred Plant Medicines. And you can receive that if you check on there's a link below this video, so you can find it there. And then also the URL is www.entheonation.com/Jocelyn. So ENTHEONATION/Jocelyn.
Wonderful. So yes, everybody definitely go check that out. And so, yep, in closing, everyone, get your notebooks ready, get your typing pads ready, whatever you have, and take lots of notes, like I said, and write down everything that inspires you, and get ready to go out and change the world.